Welcome back. Corporate profits booming in the second quarter, rising a staggering 16.1%, fueled by tax cuts, strong economic growth. Those are the largest year-over-year gains in 6 years. Back with me, David Stockman. David, going to break. Is this sustainable? Because I'm going to break. I said you cannot find one negative thing to say about the economy.
Well, the profit boom is illusion because it doesn't take into account the one-time impact of the tax cut. After 4 quarters, it'll anniversary through. And second, the rebound from the profit recession we had in 2015-16. If you go back to 2014, profits were $106 per S&P share. They dropped by 18% over the next 4 or 5 quarters. Now they've rebounded back, and they would be $117 a share for the quarter LTM basis just ended. So that's 3.5% profit growth over the last 4 years. When you put it in context, it's not even close to what it appears to be, first. And second, we're 10 years into a business cycle. At some point, a recession's coming. Profits are going to drop.
At some point, but we had a guest on Mornings with Maria this past week who said because this expansion didn't really experience the kind of corporate investment boom that other expansions have in the past, or lending boom, or even a real housing boom in most of the country, that means that this could go on longer. And when I say I've looked at the quarterly growth numbers that we've got revised up to 4.2%, the current estimates for this quarter, wages growing, consumer optimism at an 18-year high, jobs still growing. In fact, the average job growth this year, average for the first 7 months of the year, is faster than it was last year. I will put it to you. Tell me something bad that's going on right now, because you can worry about 8 months from now.
Well, first of all, whatever's going on isn't due to Trump. It's just the momentum of the economy that's in a business expansion. Secondly, the 4.2% was a total aberration, partly a pull forward of exports. You had soybeans, accounting for 1 of the 4% growth, and partly a one-time surge in consumer spending because Uncle Sam borrowed the money and gave consumers a tax cut, but that isn't going to be sustainable.
But you have unemployment below 4%. And again, there's been an acceleration in economic growth. There's been an acceleration in job creation this year. I looked at the numbers.
There's 1 quarter.
No, the job market, the 7-month average this year is 215,000 jobs. Last year was 184,000 for the first 7 months of the year.
Okay.
That's faster.
Okay. It may be, they keep revising the BLS jobs data. Here's what I know. In the first 6 quarters under Trump, and he had nothing to do with it, real GDP growth was 2.6%. In the last 7 quarters of Obama, and he had nothing to do with it, real GDP growth was 2.5%. There is no acceleration in the economy. We have an economy freighted down with debt, 69 trillion, public and private. We have an economy that hasn't invested because the Fed has encouraged corporations to use their cash flow and their balance sheet to buy back stock.
Bond investors are not worried about, though, the level of debt in this country right now. If you look at the long-term interest rates.
The bond investors are not worried about it until they are worried about it.
But they're worry warts. That's what they do. They're paid to worry and fret and wring their hands, and they're not, because you've still got the yield on the 10-year Treasury. It was in the last week. It was still deep below 3%.
Yeah, because in Europe, the yield on the German Bund 10-year is 0.4, on the French is 0.8, on the Dutch is 0.7. When you have that kind of gap, European money is coming to America to buy the bond. But the point is, all the central banks of the world have pivoted to QT. They're shrinking their balance sheet. The Fed will be dropping $600 billion a year worth of bonds into the market, not buying, selling.
I have worried about this. I have expressed concern about it, but I take issue with people when individuals in this country, your average working folks, man and woman, who are feeling good. There are plenty of jobs out there. They're optimistic. They're going out to stores. They're spending money. Their disposable income is growing, even adjusting for inflation. And people can't say anything good about it.
I don't want to say anything good.
I know, but it just shows a deafness and a blindness to the American people.
No, we're burying ourselves in debt. Washington is out out of control. 10 years into recovery, we're going to have a $1.2 trillion deficit. They're letting entitlements just run. They've raised defense spending by 80, 90 billion for no purpose. We have a baby boom generation.
The president wants to freeze the automatic pay increases for civilian federal workers.
Good. I'm all for that. But
wait. You just said Trump's doing something good. I'm all for it. I just want you to repeat that.
I'm all for that. But the point is, when you look at how much money he has borrowed, this huge tax cut that didn't make any effort to offset with spending reductions, he said entitlements are off the table. He can't give the Pentagon enough money to waste. And we're borrowing at this rate so late in the cycle. You know what happens when we get the next recession, which will come regardless of what Trump says? We're going to be borrowing $2 trillion a year, $20 trillion over the next decade.
Can you just let me and my people enjoy the growth while it's happening?
You have a few months, okay?
Okay. I'll say it's more than a few months, but I'm not going to argue because it's a long weekend. David Stockman, great to see you. Don't go anywhere. More Wall Street.